listen up, y'all. It's the queen of automation, Meghan Donnelly, here to give you inspiration. Founders and business owners gather round. I'ma show you how to build systems that'll astound. Streamline your processes, no need for complication.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Queen of Automation podcast, where we talk about all things technology, operations, life. All of these things are only good when they work, and hopefully we help you make them work. I'm your host, Meghan Donnelly, and today I have with me Allison Dittmer. Hopefully I did not butcher their last name. I was like, I hope that's how you say it, just like it looks. Allison is obsessed with this other thing that we're all obsessed with, LinkedIn these days. She has turned it into her business, and she is helping executives and fractional executives grow on LinkedIn and really kind of turn it into a client generating machine, right? So what I would love, if you wouldn't mind, is to kind of tell everybody where you're calling from. Oh, and this is Chili. This is Chili the puppy, and he is adorable, and I love him. I just want to snuggle him.
He's my little
tell
snuggle
me where
bug.
you're calling in from, and all about you, kind of what you're working on. I know we were talking about a little bit before we hit record. It's this strange new world of LinkedIn we live in these days. So I would love to hear all about you, obviously in your past, and what got you to here. And anything else interesting that you want to tell us?
Yeah, sounds good. So yes, Alison Dittmer, and I am in Columbus, Ohio. So I
You're up by me.
Okay.
I'm in Wisconsin.
Okay. Not too far.
It's freezing cold. Allison and I are both cold today. It's freezing.
Yes.
We have snow, and it just keeps snowing, and it's really cold, and it's like 10 degrees. So
yeah, it's pretty, but yes, it is cold out. Luckily, there's a little sunlight at the moment, so it doesn't feel so bad.
Right.
You know, those gray days, I think, are what's really rough in Ohio in the wintertime.
It feels
but
gloomy.
we do have some sunshine. Yeah. But yeah, just a little bit about my background. So yes, this is Chili. He's one of two of my coworkers. We got two puppies this summer. And so they hang out with me during the day, which I love. It's one of the big perks of working remotely, I feel like, and running your own business.
Absolutely.
You get to have your doggies for your coworkers. So it's great. But yeah, just a little background about me. So I actually spent 15 years in the corporate world working for a CPG company, and it was primarily in digital marketing. And then for probably the last half of that time, I was in the internal agency working more on the account and strategy side with our brand teams. And then, working with all kinds of vendors across, IT, paid media, that kind of thing. So it's really been a real difference, honestly, going from that corporate world and having a little bit of that predictability, right? Because I mean, I was at the same place. So I was at the same company for 15 years. So there's definitely patterns that you get into.
You almost feel like you have a cushion.
Oh, well,
right?
I'll be honest.
Feel like you have a cushion.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I mean, for me, and everybody's got a different story, I think, who've been in corporate. For me, it did feel more like that because I had been there so long and I knew the players and I knew the flow of things. And you get to this place of being really comfortable. And it was okay for me when I was having my kids, because I think as a woman and you're working and you're having babies for the first time, you need a little bit of that, safety and knowing what to expect at work, because there's a whole lot of things that happen at home when you have your kids that are not expected, and figuring that whole mother thing, out. And so I really was appreciative of that. But, it was really the turning point for me was during COVID, quite honestly, because my husband and I were both home with our small kids, and we were in back-to-back calls. And I just was kind of I don't want to do this anymore. I'd had that pull for a while since my son was born, really, that I wasn't sure the corporate structure was going to be something I wanted to stay in. Because as most people know, for you to grow and, get better salaries and whatnot, they want more of your time, and you gotta be in the office longer. And so it'd be about impossible to get home and have my son to basketball practice at 5, which is literally something we did this week. And I still sit here to myself and think, what would we be doing if I wasn't, on this path. Like this is so much more enjoyable for me, even with the craziness of the ups and downs of like building your own business. It's still really enjoyable for the fact that I get to be home and I get to be with my kids and take them where they need to be and have the 3:30 conversations when they get off the bus. Like that's really important to me. So yeah, I mean, it was really then in 2020 that I was thinking, hey, I don't want to do this. And then 2021, like deciding, hey, I'm going to put in my 2 weeks. At that time, I didn't know that I was going to be building a content business, but I just knew like there had to be something else
Something
that I
else.
could
Yeah.
do. I just didn't know what.
I love that for you. So you're somebody who quit before you kind of had the idea.
I did.
And you quit and then went all in and figured out the idea, focused on the idea, and then grew it from there. Wow, that's crazy. You are a brave, brave person. I feel like, well,
Braver.
because there's multiple ways you can do it, right? Like you can have the idea, run it as I hate the word side hustle, but run it as the side, on the side while you continue to work, and that's kind of what I did for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also have a corporate background. Were you in CPG manufacturing or on the B2C side?
Yeah, so we were more in honestly the digital creative arm. So we were an extension, if you will, of the brand team, working with
Okay.
them. So really kind of executing everything online when it came to like messaging, heavily into websites. So I was a part of website redesigns for years across a
Yeah.
lot of different brands. So yeah, that was primarily what I did.
Crazy. That's crazy because I come from a CPG background as well. I worked corporate for the number one lifestyle manufacturing company in the world, and it was awful. Like it was good when it was good, and then it was just bad when it was bad. And I am that person. We have 4 kids, and I moved up the chain of command very fast, and I never saw my family. I never went on vacation without my laptop, and it was awful. You kind of hit that wall. Like I'm sure you did as you're sitting there with your husband and your kids are in the house, and you're like, especially during COVID, it's just
Hmm.
it's just a different world. And
It's a different
kudos
world.
to all the moms and dads, because I know there's dads out there that are doing this too, not just moms. But kudos to all the parents that have figured out like that they are okay with the ups and downs and want to like figure out the struggle.
Yeah.
I don't think it's for everyone, but if you can do it, it's totally worth it. It's totally
Yeah.
worth being able to take my kids to the doctor when they need to go to the doctor, or the dentist, or go to all their sports games. And yeah, that whole shift is pretty freaking awesome.
And not
Let's
and
talk.
I think just the freedom too of like being able to not have to ask permission to create a schedule that like
Yeah,
works for you and where you're at in
exactly.
your life. I think
Yep.
that was really big, and I noticed that shift, right away. It's like, "Oh wow, like I don't have to be in a certain area at a certain time if I want to stay up late and work on something because I want to do it. That's fine. I can, maybe not have to get up so early the next day. Like really being able to change that on a daily basis if needed was really big.
We talk
But
about
I
this
will
a lot on
say
this
that
show.
the caveat to that was when you're in that corporate environment, I think I was a person that also fed off of like having a mentor and someone where I could actually kind of check in with and ask questions and get a feel for like where was I at in terms of performance and
Yeah.
where I,
Yep.
could kind of focus more. And you don't have that when you're solo and doing your own thing. Like you learn over time for you to get feedback. You kind of have to start asking the clients that you work with, right? To really get an understanding of like what you did well, what was helpful, what could be more helpful in the future. And so, yeah, it's a whole different skill set for sure.
It is completely different skill set. And I will say, we talk about this a lot on this show too, like work-life balance. I don't actually believe in work-life balance. I didn't believe in it. You have one life, right? It's one life. You can't separate it. And whether you work for someone else or you work for yourself, you have to set boundaries. And that's one of the things that I love about the world of technology, is because I can build automation and systems and AI, and I can use all these tools, use them as tools, don't use them as replacements. And you can use those things to aid in building a life that you actually love. So that while you're at your kid's soccer game, baseball game, football game, wherever you are, the system behind the scenes, the operations behind the scenes is still running the show, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I look at technology and AI in such a different way because I've had this horrible corporate experience, right? And because you've gone through that. And I think there's this kind of stigma out there. There's a stigma out there that, oh, this is super easy because of all the stuff that you see online, on Instagram, on TikTok, on
Yeah.
LinkedIn, all over the place, right? Oh, it's super easy.
Yeah.
Look at all these people building businesses. It's not easy. They're showing you the good days. They're not showing you the true picture. One.
Absolutely.
And two,
Yeah.
unfortunately, people are doing it the wrong way. So it's so amazing to listen to a story like yours because you're doing it for the right reasons and the right way. You're doing it because you want time back, right?
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. Time is the only thing in our lives we can't get back. And so if you're deciding, for anyone who's listening out there and they connected with Allison's story, if you want to do it, then you should do it. Because now, whether you're 20, 50, 80, I don't care.
Yeah.
If you are slowly starting to realize that your time is being sucked away by all of these things, it's worth the struggle. It's worth the effort. At least I think it is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just for
And
that
I think,
alone.
oh, yeah, I agree. And just what I've also kind of learned, like, as I've done this is, especially with everything that's gone on, in the economy this year, I've had friends and family members working for, corporate places in really good jobs, and they've
Yep.
been let go. And
Yep.
unexpectedly, right? Like, so they never even knew it was coming, didn't have a hint really, just came in and was told, hey, I'm sorry,
No one is
but we're going to be
safe.
letting you go.
No one.
Yeah, no one
No
is
one is
safe. And I
safe.
think that's been what I've kind of learned more over the years of, like, no one is safe. This idea, I was lucky. I think when I think about it, like, okay, I got lucky that I was in that position for 15 years and it felt like the cushion, because
Yeah.
more and more going forward, I just don't think there is anything safe. And that's why I believe I do have such a passion for, like, anyone with any career, whether you're like a fractional executive, like building your own thing, or you're even working in a 9 to 5 at this point, you should be building your personal brand on LinkedIn. I wish I
100%.
would have done it like 10 years ago when I
Yep.
was in the 9 to 5, because who knows like what would have come up or other opportunities. But like, I didn't put myself out there. I didn't see the need for it. But I just, more and more as things are changing and the environment's changing and we've got AI coming into the picture, I just think the more you can kind of carve out the narrative for what you do, who you help, the kind of work you want to be involved in, the kind of conversations you want to be invited into, the more you can kind of put that out there into the universe, I think more of that's going to come back to you. And there is no fail to it, right? There is no downside to this, in my opinion. It's just putting in the work, which is the hard part. And it is hard. You got to have time. You got to have intention to do all this. But honestly, I mean, I think good things will come. I've seen it with myself. I've seen it with my clients, and it's amazing. I think what can get invited into your life if you just kind of give yourself, the opportunity to feel safe enough, I think, to show some more sides to you.
I would love to talk about, and this is kind of where we get a little on the geekier side, because I feel like everybody does this in their own way. There's a lot of LinkedIn coaches out there, bad, good, otherwise. Like
Yep,
they're
there
out
are.
there. They run the gambit, right? So I would love to learn more about how you work with your customers.
Yeah.
And talk about some of the more nerdy sides of your business, like how do you onboard a customer? Like what does that
Yeah.
process look like? And then kind of how, once a customer is in your world, what does it look like? How, where are you, what kind of systems and tools are you using? Because as an
Yeah.
individual solo entrepreneur, I can imagine, right? Like, there's so much noise out there. Most people don't know where to start. They don't know
Yeah.
what to choose. So then they just pick a spreadsheet, right? Like, and just start putting
Yeah.
stuff on it,
Right.
which is not a bad thing. Like, if you're getting started and you're so overwhelmed with all of the noise out there, pick a spreadsheet and get started. Like, that's fine. But fast forward now a couple of years, I would love to hear where you're at now and kind of what that
Yeah.
process looks like.
Yeah. And honestly, I'll be the first to admit, Megan, I'm not using as many automations and probably fancy tools as what I could. There's certain ones that just work for me, like in my habit. And then as I discover new ones, some stay with me for a while, some kind of drop off. So
Right.
yeah, so the process, like when people start working with me, I've kind of nailed it down to like a 5-week engagement with me. And it covers off on like 3 primary phases. One being like the profile page optimization. So I firmly believe in the fact that like gone are the days of the printed resumes,
Yep.
where I can very
100%.
much remember having that, walking
Oh,
in,
I used to
having my
hate
interview.
writing those.
My gosh.
They
Well,
were
I mean,
awful. Like, updating your resume was like the worst thing. Like,
yeah,
when it's like, oh, I gotta update my resume. I've been at this job for 12 years and now I have to go like update my resume to like, I just
yep,
remember
yep,
that feeling. It was awful.
yep. And I mean, guess what? I mean, LinkedIn is the digital resume now. So,
Yeah.
like anybody who wants to find out information on you, they type in your name. And with LinkedIn having the authority, as a website that it has online, you can bet that on page 1 of Google, in those first 3
Yep.
spots, one of them is going to be LinkedIn with your name, and people are going to be clicking on it. And whether you're updating it or not, they're going to see what they see. Right. So for me, like with clients, it always is like, let's make sure we get your profile page right and optimized. Like that's what we've got to have first. The second phase, and to do that, like I kick that off with like a questionnaire. So talking about tools, I use Google Forms. I find it to be very easy and effective. It's got some standard questions that I like to ask everyone that they fill out and complete. And then they kick that back to me. And then from there, I use that to craft what that copy should be for their LinkedIn profile page, as well as how are we going to create the content strategy. And the content strategy needs to map back to business goals. What are you trying to achieve out of all this? Are you trying to gain more clients, which 99% of the time is the case? Or are you simply just trying to grow an audience, which can be a little different in terms of what you want to kind of put out there? You're right. Just the process of like working with me and the fact of it being like
Yeah.
a 5-week engagement. So yeah, phase 1, profile page update, got to get that in a good place in terms of copy and visuals when it comes like to the banner and your featured call outs. All that has to tell the story of, what you stand for and ultimately the kind of like people you want to attract and work with or collaborate with. That's phase 1. Phase 2 goes into the content strategy of like, what do we want to talk about based on your business goals? So being really clear on what that is and making sure like content maps back to that. And I think that's a lot of the time hard for people because it's not that they don't have ideas of what to post. I just don't think they are thinking through it enough of like, how am I connecting it to my business to
Right.
actually
Right.
drive revenue? Right? Like
I
it's a
think
lot
that's
of,
everyone's biggest problem is how do
yeah,
people always ask, well, like personal stories, right? Like, well, this doesn't actually match my business. I'm like, but it can. You
yeah,
can
it
use the
can.
personal, and it takes a creative brain like yours or mine or somebody that to fit the two together, right? Because it's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy
Yeah,
thing to
it's
do
not.
to like talk about your children and like you're teaching your son a lesson and relate that back to the business and how you deal with the business world, right? A lot of people can't
Yeah.
make that connection.
Right, right. Cuz I mean it's the stories like that that tend to bring people in and hook people because it actually is like speaking more to our emotions, and a lot of us can like relate to it from like a very human, side of things. And I think that's why you need to use storytelling in a lot of what you do, because it's just going to pull people in more and more and more. If you're just talking about blanket topics about leadership, or how to drive revenue, and they're just kind of like stale and dry, I mean, people are
Yeah.
going to scroll past it.
It's all
Even
the
though
same
we're on
stuff.
LinkedIn. Yeah. I mean, even though we're on LinkedIn, it's a professional platform. Like, we are humans too, and we want to be entertained to a certain degree, right? Or we're not going to stop and pay attention. So you have to always keep that in mind. It's this magical formula of like storytelling structure of how you actually need to put that on LinkedIn, knowing what the guardrails are, kind of around the platform and what does well. And then your business, how are you introducing what you do in a very clear way? And I find
Are
that
you
fun.
teaching
I
them
find that
DM
fun to do.
strategies too?
I'm sorry.
Are you giving them DM strategies too? So if somebody's for
Yeah.
inbound and outbound,
Yes.
and showing them how to like connect with their audiences and stuff like that, because I think that's
Yes.
also a key component that people don't realize. Sure, you could do all of this yourself. You can just start posting on LinkedIn. Awesome,
Hmm.
good job. That's step one. But if you're not actually engaging and using it as a networking platform, just posting doesn't really get you anywhere. I mean, it's a start,
It's
obviously,
a start.
but it's not
It's a piece. It's a piece. Yeah. It's not the
right.
whole
It's a
thing. And
little
that's
itty
why
bitty
like
piece.
phase 3 of my engagement for 3 weeks, we just focus on how to engage with people and how to spot the flags of people that are watching and reading, but maybe aren't liking it, maybe aren't commenting on your post.
Right.
So I absolutely make that a very big piece, because truly, I think it's two part. It's like the content creation side, finding ways to create the stories that you need to create in an efficient way, that's not taking a ton of your time, but then also pairing it with like being very intentional of how you want to engage with people and how you need to find your ideal clients.
What happens? So what happens after the 5 weeks? Then they're now kind of in your world. You've got their information, their email and contact information. So after 5 weeks and the program is over,
Yeah,
are they then taking that and now they're writing their content themselves and doing all the
yeah,
engagement themselves? Is that what usually
exactly.
happens?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And then I do have some clients, and depending on, kind of how the chemistry works between us, they
Yeah.
sometimes ask me, "Hey, would you just ghostwrite my post for me for the next 3 months to keep me
Yeah.
going? And then that way I can continue to learn how to do this." And I've done that
Right.
as well. But I think truly, like, I try to focus on setting people up with the foundation so that they can do this long term. Cause that's the reality. The reality is, this is a long game, and it's something that you as an individual need to try to figure out, because you need to carry this on for years
Yeah.
for it to really help you in the long run. And so I just try to be that person that helps, start the foundation for them. And then sometimes I'll do a little bit of writing for them, but then really after that point, they're kind of off on their own. And then I'm still checking in with them though. I mean, a lot of my clients know
Yeah.
I send them random emails or DMs saying, "How's it going?" I absolutely want them in my newsletter flow for the Content Cup, because it's a newsletter I
Yeah.
send out every 2 weeks where they can continue to learn about LinkedIn and what's working and tips and things I'm discovering that's making being on the platform easier or more
Nice.
impactful. So yeah, I'm still constantly checking in, because to me, I mean, these are people that you forge these relationships with, and I want to see them do well, So
Yep.
anything I can do to try to help
And
them,
you want them to
after the
forward,
engagement.
yeah, and you want them to forward other people to you and refer people. That's the best. Word of mouth is still the best growth tactic, right? Like if you could have a million referrals, like good positive referrals, it's going to beat out, cold lead gen and EA, which is
Yeah, oh
very,
for sure.
very, very old school. And I don't think people like realize it, but
Yeah. Well, and
well, this has been,
I also tell people too, like LinkedIn should be the place where you can kind of break the ice with people. And then when
yeah,
you can meet in person or jump on a call, you should be doing it, because that's the time where you dig in more individually as to like what's going on in your life. And that's what I've found. Like, honestly, a lot of the time it's meeting people on LinkedIn, and especially if you're local, like then meeting in person, and all kinds of different things come up. Like sometimes they become clients, sometimes they refer me to people they know who need this help, who become clients. Sometimes they say, hey, Allison, will you come and speak at the event? And then I meet new people that way. So it just, again, it all compounds, and it's not wasted time. Because I think that's the perception with social media sometimes is, oh, it's just a bunch of wasted time. Like, and yes,
And it
can
can
get
be
like that
if you're using it the wrong way. It absolutely
yeah,
can
if
be.
you're using it the
And I
wrong way, but
think
if you're using it the right way, absolutely, it's not a waste of time. It all comes together.
LinkedIn, just like any other social media platform, is 100% a time suck. It is. But it's not a time suck that, compared to like a Facebook or an Instagram or TikTok and stuff like that, it's a different kind of time suck because you can structure how you use your time on LinkedIn to actually meet people that are going to buy your products and services and
Yeah.
work with you and talk to you and just get to know who you are. You
Yeah.
can actually do this same thing on all of the other platforms. Each
Mhm.
medium is a little different, each channel is a little different. And,
Yeah.
Obviously, like the doom scrolling and stuff like that on TikTok and Instagram is
Yeah.
but if you understand those platforms and you understand how the doom scroll works, you could actually make those work for your advantage too. I think people just don't understand the social selling aspect and how to use it to build their brands. So
Yeah.
this has been really insightful because I think, in fact, I don't think I know there's so much bad advice out there. How do you deal with that? This is a good kind of final topic. How do you deal with someone who's come to you that has experienced X amount of bad ghostwriters, X amount of bad coaching, and what are you doing that's like flipping them on their flipping the script because
Yeah.
there's so much
Well, I
bad.
mean,
I feel like we all are now getting
yeah.
these people that have been burned so many times.
Yeah. Yeah. And I will be honest, maybe it's because I'm still like early in my business. I haven't actually dealt with a lot of people yet who have been burned per se, but I know what you're talking
Scorned.
about. I've heard about that.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
yeah, because of their interaction with a different coach or whatnot. So fortunately, I think a lot of the people who end up coming to me have either well, first of all, they know that LinkedIn is the place to be. So there's not a lot of like convincing them of how important it is to show up on LinkedIn. They like already know that. So many of these people have been founders and business owners for years. I would say even 5+ years. But like all business
Yeah.
owners, they're getting to this place of like, I've proven out my idea or service. It's absolutely like in demand, and I want to concentrate still at that core. But I'm just at a place of like, I can't spend any more time trying to figure this out. Like, I just need someone to help me kick off this whole process. And I think that's like where I kind of come in, to be able to help fill that void for them. And it's funny enough, it kind of reminds me of my role in my corporate life. Like I said, I was on the digital marketing side of things. So we were really that extension of the brand team where we were the experts in digital marketing and websites.
Yeah.
And that's kind of very much how I feel. And like when I'm working with clients, they're the expert about what their offer is and what their service is. But then I'm the extension of them, helping them figure out this particular platform and what they need to do from like just that strategic, higher picture level down to the tactics of like, hey, and this is how we structure it. And this is why we would want a call to action that says this. And this is how you would do a pinned comment to then
Yeah.
encourage more conversation. And it just, I don't know, I actually haven't put that together until I'm just now talking to you, but it's so funny
The
how that's
tactics
like
are, yeah.
coming over into my business. It's very much in a very similar way of how I was, in my corporate role. But yeah, fortunately, not a lot of people have been burned. And I just think that's so sad actually, because there's so many good people on LinkedIn who I think are more in this position of wanting to help you and who truly are going to give you like a high quality output in service where you're going to walk away and say, okay, I know more about this now than I ever did. I feel more confident. I feel more capable, right, of moving forward. So
I
yeah, I
think
think
there's
it's
a
just
lot
trying to
of
show that, in your content and in your conversations with people, and that'll start to shine through more the more they speak with you.
there's definitely less noise, I think, on LinkedIn than there is on some of the other platforms as far as bad noise, right? I mean, I'm sure every platform
Yeah.
has people that are, you can't get around it, but I definitely feel that LinkedIn has higher quality people who are trying to help you do better, right?
Yeah.
And you just have to find the right fit for you. I think
You
that's the
do.
biggest thing is everyone seems to look at all of these coaches and gurus and all of this noise that's out there and listening to like cookie cutters and blueprints and, oh, if I just buy this template, and I just find that none of that stuff works really well because every business is different. Do you
Yeah.
find, like, I mean, there's not a one size fits all for anybody's content.
No.
And I don't, there's just that type of bad information is when I say bad information is
Yeah.
people try to sell these easy fixes, and there isn't an easy fix. You have to put in
No.
the work. You have to figure out the brand, the messaging, the content strategy. And if you don't put in the time and the work,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what you buy. It's not going to work for you.
Right. Well, and to your point, I think what's kind of nice too is you can curate your feed by you interact like every time you are making comments on people's posts or you're liking things, that is training the algorithm to show you more of that. So guess what? If you don't want to see a certain individual because of what they said is very bro tactic and you're tired of hearing how they're making $50,000 a month and you just want to gag,
Yeah.
when you see it. Well, don't
Yep.
interact with it and
Yeah.
interact with other people who feel like, are more relatable. Like you can do that. That's the greatest thing about choosing who you follow and who you connect with. If you don't care for some of this stuff, you can unfollow. You don't have to be connected with that other person anymore, right? And I do think that's a way cuz yes,
Absolutely.
you can get in this position of like seeing some of that and mentally kind of messing with you a little bit of like, well, why am I even bothering? Like, I can't get to that. That's insane. Well, don't allow that to show up in your feed. You know,
What's funny
put
to
the
me is,
positive elements in there to motivate you.
yeah, what's funny to me is that the people don't realize that it's great that you just said that because people who, or at least business owners that I've talked to and solo these people that I've talked to, they think they should follow some of these really large accounts and or creators or whatever because they want to steal their audience. And what I always say to them is, but if you don't like what they're saying and you don't like their content, do you think that the audience who likes their content is going to be someone that you want to work with? And
Mm-hmm.
they kind of go, they have that moment of clarity, like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you don't like their content. You don't want to work with that person. You don't want to be around that person. So that means the people that are following and championing and liking their brand and involved in their brand are going to probably also be people that aren't going to fit with you and your personality. And
Yeah.
picking and choosing your path means picking and choosing the people that you put inside your inner circle and inside your network. And I think that's the best thing about LinkedIn is that you do have that. And you have that with all the other platforms as well. You just have to be mindful of who you're interacting with.
100%.
Well, this has been very, very cool. I'm very excited for you, and I can't wait to see where you go because your content's fantastic. So I want people to go out and check out Allison's content. But why don't you tell everybody how they can get a hold of you? Like if they're listening and they decide, yeah, I really want her to take a look at my content or my profile. I'm assuming obviously on LinkedIn is the best
Yeah.
place to reach out. But we will drop your information in the show notes. So tell people what you're working on right now. Like what's the next thing in your, I don't know, service playbook, if that's what you want to call it. and then where they can find you if they want to reach out.
Yeah, absolutely. So LinkedIn's number one. I'm just there all the time. So if you send
Yeah.
me a connection request and a DM, I'm going to get back to you because that's just kind of where I live all the time. And then on my profile page as well, if you scroll down to the featured content section, you'll see a call out for the Content Cup. And that's my newsletter that I send out every other week. So that would be a great resource. It's free. You can subscribe, get, continuous LinkedIn learnings from that. So absolutely do that if you're at all interested. And then, currently what I'm thinking about for Q1 next year is actually doing more LinkedIn lives. So I talk about getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I'll be honest, like I'm not the most comfortable with being on camera and doing like a live little webinar for everybody and just seeing who shows up. That really kind of makes me feel uncomfortable. But I do think the more I push myself in that way, it's just going to be valuable for my own personal growth. And then hopefully just getting some good, insights out there just to help others who are thinking about like being on LinkedIn more and trying to grow a personal brand. Like that's what it's all about. And so that is definitely.
If somebody wants to work with you, they should book on your Calendly, right? She's got a book a Calendly link. Just book a time and make sure it's the right fit and work with Allison again. But go check out her content because it's really good content, and she's got some really great branding advice on how to build your personal brand. Yes, it's important to grow your business brand. We all get that, but your personal brand is something that is I think it's even more important because it's going to be with you forever. You may change companies, you may change jobs, but your personal brand is always going to be with you, no matter where you go or what you do. So
exactly.
Anyway, go check out Allison's content. We'll put all of her stuff in the show notes. And remember, everybody, technology systems and tools, all of these things are only good when they work. And if you treat LinkedIn like the tool that it is, it will help you grow. I promise you. And that's all we've got for now. And we'll see everybody next week.